All right, so in this video, I'm going to be going over the whole sourcing process just from a very high level. We're not going to be going into the individual parts, but I just want to give you so that you guys can build out that mental framework so that, and then we'll go in and fill the little pieces in later. All right, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find where you're going to go and find your suppliers. So you can use the internet, go through sites such as Alibaba or global sources if you're sourcing from, or there's also like Asia Expo, I think is another one. I've never used it, but I've seen it before. So that's what you're going to use if you're sourcing from China. And then if you're sourcing from places like in the United States, those manufacturers aren't really on Alibaba. There's other places like Thomasnet or Maker's Row. And what I found is a lot of times you'll just have to use Google because US manufacturers, the whole supply chain, it's very different and they're not very internet friendly. But if you want to get into sourcing in the United States, I have a whole video on that. But 95% of the time you're going to be sourcing from Alibaba, especially if you're getting started. That's going to be the easiest way. And essentially Alibaba is just going to be your Amazon. It's like Amazon where you go and find products, but you find suppliers there. So they list their products and then you go now and can see and evaluate who's going to have the right products. All right. So the next step is you got to choose the supplier. So you have your product in mind if you're doing this. And then now you're going to go and see who's going to be the best supplier. And you're going to use some criteria to determine if that is even a worthy person of you talking to, and you can eliminate it like that. And then once you've eliminated it to just suppliers that look worthy, you're going to go and use forms to contact them. And then now those are going to be very detailed. And then based off of those responses and how they go back and forth with you, like how long it takes, how detailed did they even write back to you? Did they write in English? These are going to be ways that you're going to evaluate if you want to go and do business with this person. And you're going to have late nights when you're sourcing from China. And that's just something you're going to have to get used to. So you want to have a good relationship with them. You want to make sure this is a good quality supplier. And also before that, I forgot to say, you have to actually find that you're dealing with a manufacturer versus a trading company. Because a trading company, you guys, it's kind of like almost more like a real estate agent. They don't own or make anything. They're just like a matchmaker finding, and they'll pretend. Sometimes they'll just say that they're a trading company, and then sometimes they'll pretend that they're a factory. And we got video on that showing how you can make sure you've got the real deal, and why you might actually want to use a trading company. Because I used a trading company, and it was actually way better than using a factory. All right, so once you have decided, maybe you get it down to 2 or 3 manufacturers that have passed all of these tests, and then now you're like, okay, I think I could go with these guys. You want to get that product in your hand, because what is a picture? It could just be Photoshop. They could have just stolen it. They could have just stolen a photo from one of the top selling things on Amazon. You're like, wow, that's top seller on Amazon. It's on Alibaba. I should buy from them. Well, guess what? They had that exact thought and said, well, if I just take that picture from Amazon, put it on Alibaba, I'm going to get a lot of business. And they're not selling you that. So you want to get product samples. All right. Now, if you've been listening to what I talk about, you probably want to do some customization or, in some shape or form. So you want to see now, once you've seen the amenities that they can do, types of customization, maybe it's just packaging or bundling or whatnot. Now we're going to get that actual product, okay? And we want to make sure that we like the quality of it. So we've taken all of them and we've gotten it down to just those couple that they got potential. And then now, who's got the best quality? And then now, once we have the best quality ones, now it comes to price. You obviously want to make sure that it's a somewhat acceptable price beforehand, before you go through and get this sample. But price isn't everything, because I'm always trying to be that guy at the top and the best option for the person who really cares, who is not price sensitive. You never want to compete on price. You always want to have the greatest quality, because it's going to give you the ability to just get, you don't have to deal with negative reviews, and you're proud of it and you're really providing value. So we've gotten it down now, and we find the guy with the best price, and he can meet our customization needs, and everything matches. Well, then now we're probably going to go with him. So we move on to the next step, pulling the trigger. All right. So you're going to need to pay him now. And there's several ways that you can go and pay. So actually, before that, we have to decide on the terms of the sale. So there's going to be payment terms, and then there's going to be other terms that you'll want to negotiate, like getting your returns refunded back. So if they're sending you faulty product, or becoming defective, you can get your money back for that, but only if you ask. So we'll talk about that later. So there's other things we can negotiate on in this process before we pull the trigger. So we're going to have price, we're going to have getting the returns refunded to us, lead time which is huge. And then we also have the product customization of packaging. Are we going to get just a plain brown box, which kind of sucks? Or can we get a colored box? And then, but typically with a colored box, they're going to want you to order a larger quantity. And then we'll be talking about how you can get that colored box with a lower quantity and how you can negotiate all of this. But you negotiate all the terms and you get the customization that you want and in the terms that you want. And yeah, once you have all the terms that you want, you have a good quality product. The guy, you feel good communicating back and forth with them. You're going to pull the trigger. And then now you're going to have a product coming. But you got to pay them before they start to do anything. In China, they don't just have these products on hand. They're not sitting there like if you're ordering backpacks, they don't just have the material, okay? They have the machinery and the personnel and the skills to make it, but they're very cash sensitive in China. So they're not going to buy and make this product until you have a really good relationship with them or until they have the money. So we're going to go ahead and pay them. Now, if this is your very first one, you have a couple of ways to pay, and we have a whole full video on that. You could use what I like is OFX, but if it's your very first one, you're still getting started and you want some protection, you could use PayPal or you could use Alibaba Trade Assurance. And so you're going to put that 30% down. All right. And then now they start to make your product. And then while your product is being made, you're going to find a freight forwarder. So watch the video on that. And then that freight forwarder, you'll talk with them and you'll get some information from the supplier about how it's going to be shipped and what the carton size is going to be and everything. So that right when that is ready, you're going to be able to ship it out to the United States or whatever market you're selling it in and get it ready for sale. Now, so payment terms, we pay 30%, it starts to get manufactured, and then we pay the 70% at the end once it's all ready. So you don't pay that 70% until you get a product inspection. Now, a lot of people won't do this, but trust me, get it. You don't want to skimp out. It's like $100, and I have a link in a video explaining where to get product inspection done. I mean, it might be up to $200 depending on who you use and which one, which quality service, and maybe if you're bundling or whatnot. You want to get this done because there could be errors, okay? They could have done something wrong. There's so many things that could have been an issue, and now not even just on your first order, because remember, we don't have a relationship with these people. Guess what? You have to constantly do this because even when I had people packaging and manufacturing at my place in the United States, we were still making errors the whole summer. There were times where we'd get the wrong sticker on something and it would go in on the wrong inventory on Amazon if we wouldn't have caught that. And sometimes it's still, even with a bunch of us checking, it didn't get done. But that was because we're sending multiple items at a time. So I digress. But you want to get your inspection done because guess what? If it doesn't meet your quality, we negotiated in the terms that, hey, it had to meet these specifications, and they're not going to get their 70% of the money until it meets that. So that's your protection. Now that you can't sue Chinese companies, maybe you can if you got money and lawyers and you got people in China. I don't. So it's a trust-based system. So this is why we have these processes. And once it passes our product inspection, but these guys are amazing. They'll go out for a whole day and work for you. They'll take hundreds of pictures, give you a full report, $100. It's worth your investment. So then it's ready to go. And we're going to pay that final 70%. And then we're going to get it shipped in. So our freight forwarder, we'll talk with our freight forwarder and our supplier, and they're going to handle all of it, your customs and your duties. It can be a little overwhelming, but not when you have a good freight forwarder, because they literally do it all for you. And then it gets shipped over either by sea or by plane. And I always suggest that people use air in the beginning because C, it just gets more messy and it gives you long lead times. And in the beginning, like we've talked about, you want to have that fast feedback loop of learning, and you want to get this into the Amazon warehouses as fast as possible. But if it's large, I mean, you got no other choice. You have to go by C with some stuff, or it's just not going to be profitable. And then now it'll get in there, and your freight forwarder will get it to the Amazon warehouse. And now you have a product live in Amazon. So that's the steps. Choose platform, choose supplier, get it customized, negotiate terms, pay, manufactured, inspect, pay the final amount, ship, good to go. So if you have any questions about the process, well, go watch the rest of the videos on this. And then if you still have questions about a specific area, let me know on that video, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.